Hello guys, my name is Khan and actually in this video we will be creating this dashboard. So this dashboard is very much the dashboard that we have created before, but the important thing to note here is that we have a download button in this dashboard. So if I click this download button, it will allow me to download this graph which is based on these slider inputs and the radio button. So if I click it, you can see that it downloaded a graph which is based on 2005 data. So it's labeled as data 2005 and it's considered as a PNG file. So if I want to save it as a JPEG file, and now if I click it, so it will save a JPEG file with this graph. And if I change it, so suppose if I change it to, if I want to see 2012 data and I want to download this graph and based on JPEG format, so if I select that, so if I click it, so you can see now I have downloaded 2012 JPEG in files. So if I open it, you can see, so this is the graph which came from this main panel to from the graph which you can see on the screen. So in order to do that, in this video I will start making my Shiny app from the scratch. So I will just close my files from my background, and I will also close it, and I will also close my R. So now I will start making my own dashboards just from the scratch. And in order to do that, I will go to my RStudio. And for this video, I will be using the same dataset which I was using before for my video. In my last video, I also have used this dataset. So I will not go through how this dataset look like. So I will just go to my script and will start writing the code. I will maximize my R script into a separate window. And the first thing is that I will mention the libraries that I will be using for this dashboard or for this video. So I'll be saying library. The first library I will be using is Shiny. And then the second library, because I will be importing my data set from a CSV file, so I will be using a library readr. So after that, I will be importing a data set. The first thing is I will save the script. Let's save it into videos. Shiny video. So, and I will be save under the download button folder, and I will be naming it also like download button. Save. The next thing is that I want to import the dataset, and therefore I think I will first make a working directory. So I will set this folder which is under the videos rshiny download button. So I will make it as my, I copy the path, so I will come here, set working directory, and within that I will paste the path. I don't need to mention the file name, I just need the folder path. And after that, actually R don't recognize these forward slashes, so I will change it towards backward slashes. Now I will import my dataset by simply writing down. First I will create an object in R, and then I will assign the imported dataset to that object. I will import the dataset by using just simply read underscore CSV, and then I will mention my file name data.csv. I don't need to mention the file path because I have already set my working directory. Now I think everything is, I will just execute my code, Control Shift Home and then enter to see that everything is going fine. Yes, I didn't get any error. I just got a bit warning message that I'm using a bit previous version of R. That's fine. So now the point is, now I'm ready to write down our code for our dashboard. As usual, I will start with the user interface. So first we will define the user interface. So in our user interface, we will be setting up the first heading that this dashboard is about, download graph. Then we are setting up slider input, and then we will also creating a radio button. So first I will create that. So I will be creating the user interface object as UI, and then I will be using the shiny function, which is shiny UI, and within that I will be using a fluid page option. There are also some other options available, but I am more like to use fluid page. And after the fluid page, what I will do, I will use I will give a title to my page, which will be, so in order to give a title, so I will be using a option title panel. And after the title panel, I will be using HTML function because I want my title to be in the center. Therefore, I'm using HTML function. So in order to make it in the center, I will write down within these less than, equal to, greater than sign. This I will write down center. So whatever you will write down here, it will not be printed within these less than, equal to, greater than sign. It will be just telling the formatting of your text. And then the thing that I want to write down as a title is download charts. I will write down download charts, and I will end with the formatting style again, that I want to end it again in the center of the page by writing down center. And now I have written down the title of the page. So now after that, what I will do, I will start mentioning my slide bar layout. So I will start here from my slide bar layout. So my slide bar layout, in order to I will mention my slide bar layout. So this will be my, I think I have made an error, so I have made a spelling mistake, slide bar layout. And after that, my slide bar, and within my slide bar layout, I want my slide bar layout on the right hand side. So I will first mention that the position of my slide bar will be on the, sorry, my slide bar position will be equal to on the right hand side. And after that, I will be mentioning my sidebar panel options, so that sorry guys, I've made a spelling mistakes here. It's sidebar layout. And now I will mention my sidebar panel options. So in order to do that, first I will write down sidebar panel, And within the sidebar panel, the first thing is that if you guys noticed here, that I will be giving it as a title as this dashboard is download graph. So in order to do that, and I am using H4 heading style. So within that, I will be mentioning that this dashboard is about downloading graphs. And after that, the second thing that I want to make within my sidebar panel is that I want to create a slider input. So in order to select input. So in order to do that, I will start writing select input. And the first thing is that I'm going a bit quickly because I've already made a video about select input. So I will be just first creating an year that will be the ID variable. And after that, I want to mention the label of my select input, which will be employment rate in given year. So I'll be saying employment rate given year. And the thing is that how many options that I want to give. I want all the years to appear when I will click this down arrow. So I will be starting with that my sequence. So I have to create a vector. So I'll be creating a vector by just using the sequence function. And then my sequence will start from the minimum of the value from my year variable from dataset, which will be coming from data $year, and then it will goes up to the max of the same variable. So I'll be saying data $year, and I want to increase that sequence by 1. So I have created a select input now, and the second thing that I will be creating now is the radio button. So in order to do that, I'll be using radio button function, and within the radio button function, I will be first again creating an ID, which will be f type, which will be the file type. And the second thing is that what will be the radio button title. So here I'm saying that select the file type. So I will be saying select the file type, and under that I want to give an option PNG or JPEG. So in order to do that, I will just simply create a vector by saying C, and here I will give two options, PNG, comma JPEG. So these are the two files that I am allowing to download. So now I have created radio button, and now I think my user interface is almost ready. But before going further, within the slider panel, after that I will need to give use my main panel. So I'll be using my main panel, but here I'm not giving any arguments here within the main panel, because I first need to finish my Shiny server, and then within my Shiny server, the output variables that I will create, I will mention within my main panel. So in order to do that, first I will come here. Now as you can see, I'm outside my user interface, and I will start creating my server, Shiny server. So in order to do that, I will start with, again as usual, with Shiny server, And within the Shiny server, I will be creating a function object server. You can name it whatever you want. And within the server, I will be using a function which will get my input and output objects. And put dollar output. So now this is the now I've created an object server, and within that I will be assigning my input output objects. So the first thing is that if you guys notice in my dashboard, I want to create an output which will be displaying the year which I have selected under my select input. So in order to do that, I will be creating output dollar out underscore year. You can name it whatever you want, so there is no need to name it exactly the same it is. And after that, I will be saying render text. And under the render text, I want to capture the input which will be coming from $year, because my select input ID is year. So whatever I will select, it will be captured under the ID input $year, and then I am assigning it to my output through this render text. And the next thing is that I have done this thing, and the next thing is that now under that, if I go back to my plot, after 2010, I am under my main panel. I am going to show the graph. So in order to show the graph, so I will be using a render plot. So I have to assign and create a new output object which I will be calling as output dollar. I am calling it EMP because EMP means employment rate. You guys call it whatever you want, and then I'll be using a function render plot, and within the render plot I'll be so within the render plot I want to do some data manipulation, and then I want to create the graph. So the graph which I will be create here will be captured in this object. So I will start with, because I want to import the dataset again, I will copy it from above, and then I want to do some data manipulation. So suppose if I want to say data dollar, I want to take log of employment rate, so I will say log of in the same variable. So I'm updating the front variable into the logarithmic of the variable employment rate. And again, I want to create a data for the given year which will be coming from the input $year. So I'll be saying data, and straight brackets. So because I want to subset of the data set, and the subset of data set will be depend on data $year, and then I'm saying if it's equal to input $year. So this part will be subsetting the data set based on my select input, and based on my subset of my data set I will plot my graph. So I'll be saying bar plot. Again, I will be mentioning the names of my variable. So the height variable will be based on the employment rate. So I'll be saying data dollar employment rate, and my second as you can see on my on the base of the bars we have the country name. So I'll be saying, names.r is equal to the based on my country variable. So I'll be saying data dollar country, and I want to put a limit that my y-axis remain fixed. So I will be saying y limit there is no need to put a limit, but I am putting it because I know that my data employment rate is between 0 to 3. So now I have created an object, and here in the end, again, one thing I can do, because I want to see that everything is going fine, so I'll be creating a shiny app. So I will be mentioning my shiny app, and then here I will be mentioning my object, the user UI, server. So I think now I'm ready to execute the code to see how it looks. So enter. So I think things look good. I didn't get any error and everything is working fine. So the point is that you can't see any plot here because I haven't mentioned in our main panel yet. So what I will do, I will go here under my main panel and I will mention the first thing is that I want to put text output. And within my text output, I will be mentioning this out, my output object, which is out_year. And after that, I want to put my plot output. And within my plot output, my plot output name is emp_rate. And now let's see if I execute this code. As you can see, everything is working fine. If I change it, my year here, my graph is getting changed. Now the thing is that I want to start working on my download button. So in the download button, in order to work, I will start from my server. So where I have created the plot, after that I will start creating my download button. So in order to create a download button, we will be using two functions, download header and download button. So download button will appear in the main panel, whereas the download header function will appear under the server. So suppose actually in download server, first I will create an output object and I will be calling it $. And DWD actually will be capturing that what will be the file type or what will be the file content will be captured under this object DWD. I'm using DWD, it means download. And the first thing is that I will be using a function download handler. So I'll be mentioning download, and within that function I will be using two functions, file name and content. So the first thing I will start with the file name. I will say file name, and after that I will be using a function, the function without arguments. So I will say, so within that my function I will be actually defining the file name. So in order to define the file name, so I will be using paste, and I want that my file name start with the text as data, and after that I want that year of that data will appear. So that year will be dynamic. So and it will be coming from my input, from my Slack input. So I'll be using that thing. And then I'm mentioning, okay, I don't want the separator of this data and will be considered as a dot. So sorry, this next thing will be that I also have to mention the file type. So will it be PNG or JPEG, and that thing will be coming from FTYP. So I'll be just copying my, so I'll be saying input $f type, and in the end, I'm saying the separator is equal to dot, because I want that, because otherwise it will not be able to recognize that it's a PNG file or JPG file. So the next thing is that, okay, I have mentioned my file name here under my download header first function file name. After that, when I will be closing, I will be mentioning here. So I will be mentioning here, comma, the second option of my file handler, that what will be the content that this file name will be capturing. So I'll be mentioning with content. So the content is equal to, again I will be using a function, and within the function I will be giving an argument file. So actually this file is the file name which we have created here. So again I will be creating two brackets, and within that I will be here I will start creating my plot. But if you guys know how to import a graph from R, you guys may know that we usually start with PNG and then the file name, and then we create plot command. So I'm just commenting it out, and then we say dev dot off. So this is the way we usually import the data, import the graph from R. So we will be doing a similar thing here. So the first thing will be that under the command that it can be a PNG file or it can be a JPG file. So therefore we will first need to use if condition. If, so I'll be using if, and then I will be mentioning that if input dollar file type is equal to PNG, then I'll be saying start with the PNG argument, and here beside the file is the file name that we have created here on line 40. And this part of the line is actually representing this part when we used to import the graph from R. The second thing is that suppose if the input file is JPG, so I'm just copying the above thing again and saying here JPG. So I will have to mention here JPG. You can also import in other formats too, but for this video I have selected PNG and JPG. Even in PDF you can import your graph. So after that, thing is that I have to create a plot. So my plot is actually based on the same code that I have created when I was using render plot. So I will be mentioning here. So this part of the code, if I select here, is the middle part of this command, the plot. So whatever I have created, plot object will be captured and then will be imported. But in order to import, I have to end this PNG or JPG function, which will be based on this dev.off. So I will be saying that dev.off, copy, and then mention here. So now I think everything is ready to go. But the point is that the object that I have created, this output $DWD, have to be mentioned in my main panel. So in order to mention it here, I will be using a function download button, and within the download button, the first thing is that I will be providing the output ID, which will be the DWD, which we have just created in the server. And the second thing is that what will be the type. This thing a bit new, that we never give the title, but here we will be giving a download button title. We'll be saying download. So this part is the download graphs, which will be the title of the button. Control A and then Control Enter. So things look good, so everything is fine. But here there is one issue happened because I have already this. But now if I click this download graph, you can see that DWD is written down, but not the file name, because I want to be written down as data 2001.png. This thing is happening because in rshiny we have made a code to be launched on a browser. Here the are unable to recognize because my pop-up is happening within my computer. So in order to get rid of that error, you have to use where we have written down shiny app. Before that, we need to mention that okay, run app, but run app in a browser. So I will be run app brackets, and then I will be mentioning comma, and after that I'll be saying launch browser is equal to true. So instead, within my computer, I want to say that run my app in a browser. So now if I execute my code, hopefully I will not get any error like that. Control A, Control Enter. So as you can see that I have opened my dashboard in a browser now. And now if I suppose 2007, so this is the 2007 dataset I have created. This is the graph. And now if I say download graph, so you can see that now it have downloaded the graph, and it have downloaded with the name as data.2007.png. And this download graph will be in the folder which is the default folder for the downloads of your browser, so not under your working directory. So, and if I want to save the same graph in JPG file, the first graph is in the .png, but now if I download graph, you can see that I've downloaded the graph in JPG file. In the same way, I can select other here. I can download graphs, as many graphs I want. Again, this graphs will be saved in the folder which is the default download folder of your browser. The last thing is that we have created a download button in the very same way, by just making one difference. You can, instead of a button, you can also create a download link too. So in order to create a download link, I will go back to my code. Instead of mentioning a download button, I will be saying download link. So, and everything remains same. I will just say, and now for executing it, just end my browsing, and as a Control A, Control Enter. And now you can see instead of a button, there is a link here to download the graph, and it will be working the same like the button. So now if I select 2010 data, it will save data 2010, data 2005. So in the end, we will say that in this video we have learned how to download your graphs through download button and download link function, and then we also discuss a bit about how to use the function download handler, and within that download handler we have also further get to know how you can create your file names and how you can capture the content under that file name. Thank you for